the main program, okay? You all,
yes,
okay. Now, good evening, everyone. My name is Kimochi. I'm the Division J Director, and at the same time, I perform English record. But today, I'm here to warm up this place as the MC, okay? Thank you. Now we've got about 1 hour program, 1 hour in-depth interview with the champion of District 76 online speech contest in English, okay? Let me introduce our champion from Tokushima, okay? Her name is Marama Carmichael Kishimoto. We call her Maz. Yay!
Welcome!
And the Division C director, and he conducted a great interview at the District 76 online contest in English. His name is Chris Cooper. Please give him a big hand. And our upcoming District 76 director, Yusuke Ohashi. Yay! And today he is behind the curtain. He's hiding from us. Our IT director, Kazuki Sakai. Yay! Okay, today as I said, we're gonna run this event in English, all English. So please comment. Please leave your comment in English also, okay? And we've gotta divide this event into 3 parts, okay? First section is we're gonna talk about her contest speech, a magic moment. And the second part, we're gonna talk about some speech in general. And at the last part, we're gonna talk about Toastmastering, okay? Okay, first of all, before the first section, let's enjoy her contest speech, a magic moment. Are you ready to enjoy her speech again? Okay. じゃあ、酒井さんすいません。彼女のマジックモーメント流してもらってよろしいでしょうか。お願いします。
Okay.
Now, join me welcoming the 7th speaker, Toastmaster Marama Carmichael Kishimoto. A magic moment. A magic moment. Toastmaster Marama Carmichael Kishimoto.
Contest Chair, fellow Toastmasters. I don't know about you, but I'm always so busy. Shopping, cooking, cleaning, picking up toys, picking up kids, working, writing speeches, more cooking. In fact, I used to wear my busyness like a badge of honor. Then, one day, in a magic moment, I learned I don't want to wear that badge anymore. That day, my kids were hungry. Oh, who am I kidding? They are always hungry. So there I was in the kitchen, cooking for the hungry monsters before they starved to death and ate each other. When suddenly my daughter Lily dashed in. Mummy, come see this. It's beautiful. I thought she'd made me another pretend meal out of plastic food. So I said, not now. I'm cooking chicken. But, Mummy, not now. I'm busy. She dashed out into my husband's office next door. Then I heard, Daddy, come see this. It's beautiful. Guess what my husband said? Not now. I'm busy writing a speech. My husband's a Toastmaster too. Seconds later, I heard her in the living room talking to her brothers who were playing video games. Boys, come see this. It's beautiful. Guess what my son said? Not now. We're busy killing zombies. If you're wondering, I don't have superpower mum hearing. I just live in a small, busy house. A minute later, Lily plodded back into the kitchen. This time she was carrying a big bear. I thought, what now? Dinner's still not ready. But instead, she sang a song to her bear. Not now, not now, not now. Busy, busy, busy. Everyone is too busy. And no one has time for me. And as she left the kitchen with her bear, I saw a tear roll down her cheek. It broke my heart. I remembered the sports days, the performances, the special events I had missed because I'd been too busy. How many special moments have you missed because you've been too busy? I didn't want my daughter believing that no one had time for her. So I left the chicken to cook itself and I went to find her. And I found her standing on the balcony, holding her bear and staring at the sunset. And you know what? It was beautiful, pink and orange and red. I breathed it in, gave Lily and her bear a hug. Then, ping, I had an idea. I dashed inside into my husband's office and said, dear, your speech can wait. Come see this. It's beautiful. Guess what my husband said? Not that, just kidding. He said, okay, dear. On the way out, we grabbed our sons, saving the lives of a few hundred zombies. As we all stood together, watching the sky change from dazzling pink to dark red to a deep purple, a calmness settled over us. And I wondered, do we always have to be so busy? The sky was giving us a magic moment to share together, and we'd almost missed it. How many sunsets had we missed out on? How many have you? Busyness is not a badge of honor. No, busyness is a thief. It's stealing your sunsets, your special moments, your time with your loved ones. As the sun finally set, I kissed Lily on the head and said, from now on, always ask me to come share a sunset with you. She said, even when you're busy? Especially when I'm busy. That night, we ate slightly burnt chicken. But thanks to Lily, I learned to drop my badge of busyness, to stop not knowing, and instead to share more magic moments with my loved ones. But how about you? Who do you want to share more magic moments with? The next time your child, your spouse, your parent, says, come, spend time with me. Don't delay. Instead, share a magic moment today. Contest check.
Go.
Wow, thank you so much for your great speech, and I love it. Mom, come see this. It's beautiful. It's so it was so cute. Right. Actually, I used to be a not now person every time everywhere, even in front of my staff member, in front of my family, in front of my friend. Not now, not now, not now. And I had some accident because of my being not now. So your speech was so touching. I was so moved with the speech. Thank you so much. Okay, now I'm gonna give the control to the great interviewer, Chris Cooper. So Chris, could you control this session, please? Thank you.
My pleasure. Thank you very much for an excellent introduction to tonight's session, Toastmaster Honno. Excellent job. And now I'd like to move on to the main person for tonight's interview, the reason why you're all watching. Please welcome Toastmaster Marama Carmichael. Now, we obviously have lots of questions and we loved your speech. It was very nice to see it again for a second time. A very simple question to begin with. How did you come up with this idea for the speech? You must have had several ideas. Why did you choose this one?
Yeah, I always have a lot of ideas for speeches, and a lot of them are based on things that happen with my children and just little stories that happen with them. The reason I went for this one is I really, about a year ago, I started really appreciating sunsets. And standing on my balcony and seeing the sunset every of the evenings that they happened, and the beautiful colors. And I live surrounded by rice paddies and frogs, and the sunset's often reflected in the rice paddies and the amazing colors and things. And I think that the sunset just symbolizes taking time out of your busy schedule to stop. And it doesn't have to be a sunset. It could be a flower, it could be a river, it could be the seaside, it could be anything, but just taking that time to stop and wait and breathe and appreciate the world around us. So the reason I went with that is because I really feel that these days busyness is a huge problem that we all have, and we all need to just slow down a little bit and breathe and spend time with our loved ones.
I think that's an excellent message. And I think all of us recently with coronavirus will have been finding ourselves taking more time with our family and hopefully getting to enjoy that time together. When you look at a speech, obviously if I'm the judge, then I will get a list of things that I have to focus on for your speech. And I'll be, if 50% goes to content, 30% delivery, and 20% to language. How aware are you of that combination when you're going through your speech?
When I first write the speech, I don't worry so much about that until the initial idea and it starts to take form. I think, in all honesty, delivery comes later. So once you get your speech written, and then you rewrite it and rewrite it and rewrite it. And the only way to give a good delivery is to know your speech inwards and outwards, backwards, forwards. The only way to actually be able to put your energy into delivering is to not be worrying about the words of your speech. So putting the time into getting the content of your speech first, and making sure you've got it where you want it, and then memorize it so well that you can put everything you have into delivering it.
And that's a good point. I mean, for a typical club meeting, perhaps we write a script and we practice 2-3 times, maybe up to 10 times if we're really enthusiastic. How many times would you say you've practiced your speech, whether in your mind or reading it out loud?
Hundreds and hundreds, probably 1,000. I've practiced my this speech. By the time you get to the district contest, you're probably talking at least 1,000 times. Before a club contest, I'm probably getting up to 70-80 times.
Wow.
When I practice, and I until you know it inside out, back to front, everything else. You, of course, not full physical practices because you sort of exhaust yourself. But even just, I practice when I drive in my car. So when I'm on my way to work, I'll probably do it twice on the way to work and once on the way back. And then I might say it aloud. You can say it aloud in the bath. You can say it aloud in your head. Until you know your script inside out, I would practice it until you know it word for word.
Club level contests went in person or online?
Mine was in person. So my club was in person, and then everything else has been online. So our area was online and everything else.
Sorry, Chris,
No,
go ahead.
Yeah. And I mean, that's a lot of time. So, okay, I get you're doing it. So you're doing it in person in your club. And out of those many times, you must be doing it. When do you feel confident enough to start doing it in front of your family? Or is it not the kind of thing that you do? Some people, you know, when they're with their spouses, their spouse sometimes doesn't want to hear their speech, or there's a kind of a tension there. What's it like with you?
Well, my husband's a Toastmaster, so it helps quite a lot doing it in front of him, actually. And the kids pick it up too, because they're around. They don't tend to sit and watch it that much, but they do hear it. But yeah, my husband probably listens to it 40, 50 times.
Wow. Your kids
it quite well too.
Your kids listening, they must have input as well on your speech when they hear themselves.
Oh yes, totally. Why does he do this? And I didn't say that like that, mommy, and things.
So now Nobuko-san wrote her comment. She said, "I saw the picture in front of my eyes during your speech. I mean, it was beautiful room, the second floor balcony. I had the same feeling with Nobuko-san. Your description, especially the scenery during the sunset, was so vivid and easy to imagine how the sunset went. You chose the word, the color, pink, orange, red, and after that, dazzling pink, dark red, deep purple. I mean, the audience could see how the time went by. So what thing do you always care about? I mean, in order to get some vivid description for your speech?
I think when you make a speech, you really have to paint the picture for the audience. And of course, you can't tell them everything. You only have 7 minutes. You can't describe everything. So you have to use the simplest words, but the most descriptive words, so that they can get the idea from as few words as possible. But so your wording when you write a speech, you can play around with the words. And it's always, I like the rule of 3, having 3 things. So it's dazzling pink, dark red, deep purple. It always has a nice, you've got to find the way that it rolls off your tongue as well. So when you're practicing your speech, if something's hard to say, change it, move it round, because if it's hard to say, then it's not going to be that easy for people to listen to. So you're trying to make your speech so that people can listen to it easily. So you want to play around a little bit. So if you have one word that's kind of sticks every time you stick, or it sticks in you can't quite remember it, change it. Play around with the words, because then if it's sticking with you and either you can't remember it or for some reason it doesn't come out as easily, then it probably jars with your audience a little bit as well. So you can play around with it as you practice, and if something feels a bit wrong when you're saying it, try a different word and look up in a thesaurus and see if you can find something else that has a nicer sound to it or is easier for you to say, or you can play around with the wording.
Playing around, okay. Playing around.
With the description of the sunset, I wanted to show the progress of time, because of course sunsets, they get darker as they go on, as the time that's starting to end. The sky gets a lot darker, and they often start very bright and then get darker. So that was totally on purpose. So.
Yeah, your script, it was like a movie or something. Great. And I just asked you with a question, the club level contest went in person and the area contest went in online, right? Toastmaster Haruki Kajiwara, he wants to know, the difference between, you need to change your speech delivery from speech contest for in person to speech contest online. So what is the difference between contest in person and a contest online?
Oh, you very much have to change it. And for our area contest, there wasn't a lot of time actually. It was very much, is it going to be in person? Is it going to be online? Is it going to be in person? Is it going to be online? Oh, it's online. Next week kind of thing. So there wasn't that much time. But there are quite a few things to think about. Particularly, one is the space. So when you're doing it online, your space is much more limited than when you're doing it in person. So if you'd plan to move around a lot, you're really going to have to limit that movement. Of course, very important is eye contact, because normally when you do a speech to an audience, you're trying to look over here and you're looking in the middle and you're looking to the left and you're trying to make eye contact. But if you do that when you're online, you're not making eye contact, because of course online you've got to make eye contact with the camera, otherwise you're looking off to the side. So I had to try and train myself. Even at the district contest, I put some eyes up behind my camera.
I did the same thing.
Yeah, because otherwise you're looking at yourself in the picture. You're not looking at the camera. So you're much more likely on screen to watch yourself doing it, which means your eyes are down here rather than there. So where your eyes are is really important with online.
I see.
And I think you really have to slow gestures down quite a lot for online as well.
Slow
your gestures down, because if your hands are going like this, some people are going to see that as a sort of blur. So you've got to slow down your gestures.
Hand speed, movement speed. I see.
It should be slower for online. And keep everything simple and clear. If it's not simple, they're going to get more lost online than they are in person, I think. So.
Can I jump in on that as well? Because obviously when the judges are looking at it, they look at their body language and facial expressions. And it seems like if it's online, then facial expressions are something which is much more important than on stage. People can't really make out much. I mean, how much thought did you put into that when you were preparing?
Well, I did know that as well, that because you've got less of the whole body gestures, your facial gestures are going to become your facial expressions rather, are going to become much more important. I've been told I have a very expressive face, so perhaps facial expressions for me are not as hard as they are for some other people. So I didn't really so much have to actually think about it, because it comes naturally. But it does mean I also end up making quite strange facial expressions. I can be caught with quite strange expression on my face. So yeah.
I especially liked your facial expressions when you had your daughter, and your daughter was One of them was holding her teddy bear and looking down at her teddy bear and singing to the teddy bear. It seemed like a very good point. And by using facial expressions, it added to the moment.
That's another thing about the online, the difference between the online and the in-person contest, not contest, but speech. If you had a prop, like that size teddy bear on a stage, it would be very, very hard to hide that from the audience before you came on. But online, nobody can see it, and suddenly it appears from nowhere. So sometimes online actually helps you with some things.
Easier to hide it from outside of the camera.
Nobody knows you have a prop until it comes up, and then suddenly this prop has appeared, and it can. Whereas when you're on stage, you know it can be quite hard to hide a prop from the audience before, because it has to be in something, in a bag or behind something. So that's actually one of the good things for online contests.
That's a very good point. Yes, and you seem to have a very expressive voice as well, and so you could change that for the pitch for your daughter's section and the others. I mean, how much do you try to get into the character of your family when you're
I don't know. I particularly try that much, actually. Of course, I'm very close to my children, so getting into their character is not that hard. And also, I teach English, and I teach children English, so mimicking children and talking in the way that they talk is not so difficult for me.
I see. Yeah.
You won the contest three times in a row, 3 consecutive years. Your first speech, if I say boom boom, your body gesture so vivid, and I like your speech last year, holding your mirror and talk to yourself in the mirror, and this time you came up with some ideas through the sunset, the connection between your family. So you're good at picking up some theme from every little thing in your daily life. But most people, including me, sometimes we find it difficult to pick up some message from such kind of ordinary things. So we are expecting something serious like a car accident, serious disease, but your speeches are the stage, the ordinary things in your life, right? So what is the secret for you to pick up your speech message from your daily life without any serious matters?
I think so many times people focus, they think they have to make a speech about something very dramatic. They think a speech has to be about a death or an illness or some massive problem. But it doesn't. It just has to be about something that changed you, or something that can that can help your audience change. So message is really, really key, and you have to think about what do you want to give the audience? What do you want the audience to take away from your speech? Because everybody has messages to give, and everybody has stories to tell, and things that they can give back to the people listening to them. So what is your message? What is your story? What do you really believe that other people can benefit from or learn from or change from? And you find that thing, and then you can start looking at the little things that happen every day. So some of my speeches, I come from the message and find the story that fits, and some of them I come from a story and I find the message that fits.
So message came first, and you look for some situation that fit for the message.
Depends, but the last 3 years, the first year my story came first and the message came later. Last year the message came and then the story came around that. And this year I think it was mainly about the sunset. And I did have the story there in my mind, and it was connecting it to a message that I really believe in. So finding a message that you're passionate about and you think other people can benefit from, I think is really, really key. And you can, as you go about your daily life, when you see little things, you can actually, that might be a good speech, or that might be a good story to tell. That's a really good message. I really want to share this. And you can have a little notebook that you can jot down speech ideas, or on your phone you can have an app, you can just put it in notes or something. And as you go about your daily life, if you see even other people, it doesn't have to be about you. It can be, you can be walking through the park and see somebody do something very kind, and you can think, oh, okay, that would make a great speech, and you can jot it down, and then you can sort of work your message around it, or work your story around it, and just sort of crafting around that.
So becoming curious and opening your mind will be the best way, one of the best ways to get better speeches without any serious problems or serious matters.
Yeah, it doesn't need to be about something serious. Your message is what's serious. And finding also, if you have something really big and dramatic, maybe not everybody can quite relate to it, but if you have a little small thing that happens, lots of people can relate to it.
So it's easier to connect with the audience with the small things in our daily life.
Yeah, I mean, if the big dramatic event has a really good message, go for that. So I'm not saying don't ever use them, because of course big dramatic events also can have a really, really strong message. And
I see.
So yeah.
So when you say that, it's all about being observant about, it's not just yourself, it's when you're taking a walk, you're not just thinking about, oh, what do I have to get for dinner? What do I have to do next? It's also taking in your surroundings and being aware of where you are.
I think so. I think noticing the people around you, and it can be your family, it can be the people you work with, it can be somebody in a park, it can be somebody in a restaurant, in a street. Noticing human interaction, because most speeches will be around some sort of human interaction. Noticing human interaction and what's happening with them, and you can find little speech nuggets that you can find that will lead to something beautiful.
And when you've got all of those, when you're being judged as well, one of the criteria is the appropriateness of the choice of words, what you're doing. And for example, Mark Twain would say, you should, if you see an adjective, then you should jump on it and kill it. And he recommends using verbs to, she dazzled me, instead of saying she had a dazzling dress, or I was consumed by it, instead of saying it was very exciting. And by having these verbs instead, it makes a more powerful story. Is that something you consider when you're writing your script?
Definitely word choice is something I consider. I wouldn't necessarily go verbs over adjectives, because I do think adjectives can be very important. I do often go for the simpler option over the complex, though. And partly it's because I live in Japan, and it's largely a Japanese audience that I'm talking to. But saying that, even if I was in the UK where I'm from, I still think I would go for slightly simpler words over complex, because you don't know who your audience is. And Toastmasters is an international, it's an international club. So even in America, in the UK, some of your audience might not be native English speakers. So having slightly simpler words, but also you don't want your audience thinking, what's that word? What's that word? You want them to understand your speech quickly and easily, and not be dazzled by big long words and complicated structure and complicated phrases. So I find keep it simple, actually. Keep the words as simple as possible. You don't need to show off your fantastic knowledge of the English language. Instead, paint a picture, but paint it as simply as you can.
So, if I say something, okay, Chris, this time the District 76 online contest took over 4 hours, right? 4 hours. It took so long, and maybe I was wrong, but at the moment when who won the contest, your face, when your name was called, your face looked a little bit confused, or complicated, or so how did you feel when you got your name from the contest chair, Toastmaster Ohashi?
I was very pleased to win.
Oh, I see.
I was very happy. I think you never know how a speech is going to come off, and I think even less so in an online contest. You have no idea how the audience is taking your speech. You have no idea how the judges are taking it. So really, when it comes to the results, you don't know. You can't predict what the result will be ever. So it's never sort of, oh, I'm so relieved. It's more like, oh, wow. So there is a kind of, there is always an element of surprise when you win a contest.
So what do you think? What is the most effective? Which aspect do you think so that you could get first place in the contest?
I think you've got to keep it simple. So keep your story simple and your message simple. And there are some amazing speakers. There are every year. There are some absolutely fantastic speeches. But people do tend to try and complicate things a little bit much. So they want to say too much. They feel they need to say it a few times to really tell people. So my advice for most people is keep your speech as simple as possible. Because really, when it comes down to making a speech, what you really want from it all is you want your audience to take your message away. That's what public speaking is. You want them to walk away knowing what your message is, whether they believe it or not, whether it made them laugh, whether it made them angry, whatever it was, you want them to walk away and know what it was. And if you make it very complicated and they walk away going, well, I think the message was this, then it's not so effective. But if they walk away and they think, okay, I know what the message was, then you've been effective. So really, mainly I would say, keep it simple. Keep the story simple.
Keep it simple.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think one of the things I liked in your speech is when you had your busy badge. And that was a very good way to show people what the problem was. I'm busy. And then something simple like that really encapsulated your message, and it stuck in my mind. So I think using a prop like that is a very good way. How did you come up with the idea of a busy badge?
Actually, the badge has been in the speech since the club contest. So immediately I knew I wanted to have a badge of honor. And I tried drawing different sorts of badges, and I was making it look like a police badge. And my son says, "It's very strange to have a police badge." This is my oldest son. He said, "It's a bit strange to have a police badge. You need more like a merit badge." So I redrew it and drew it as more of a merit badge of honor. So the badge has been in from the beginning. The teddy as a prop only joined the night before, not the area, the district, no, the division contest, sorry. The night before the division contest, I suddenly thought, oh, I could actually use a teddy here. So yeah, it only joined just before. It wasn't in the area or the club. I just suddenly thought, why don't I use the teddy? Because it's online. So
I think that was a great prop as well to have in the speech.
I think prop-wise, my advice is keep it simple as well. Actually, if you have a lot of props, you can get a little bit flustered with pulling things out, especially on a stage, even more so. If you try and have too many props, it can get a little bit difficult to hide them and pull them out in time. So prop-wise, very simple props and easy to use props.
Nice. Okay, before moving on to the next session, let me express my gratitude to you for saving zombies' life. Actually, I love zombie movies, and your try to take your sons to the balcony means that saved a lot of zombies' lives. I mean, zombies are already dead, but thank you so much for your you saved the zombie's life. Okay, Ohashi-san, you have something to share?
Yeah.
Right.
Right. Well, so before moving on to the next section, well, one thing that I like you to elaborate. One thing is about what. So you choose the word. So not now. I'm busy. And you said a magic moment with a loved one. You said, well, adjective is very, very important. This is simple and powerful. So why did you choose this adjective?
Which one? Magic?
Magic, yeah.
Yeah, the title of Magic Moment only came in for district contest. So actually, at each level before that, it's had a different title.
Oh.
And the Magic Moment actually came in a little bit later. So it's been through three different titles, at least three different titles, probably a few more actually, before it got to the actual Magic Moment. But I think the idea of something, a magic moment, something so magical, it can change the way you think. Yet so simple, like a sunset. So a simple something that happens every day, but a magic moment can be found in anything. So that's why I like the magic moment.
Excellent. So, well, many audience would like to hear and ask for your advice that, well, this is a successful recommendation or presentation to your audience. You said you crafted the very clear message and illustrate fundamental message to your audience very successfully. So what is your biggest point to illustrate your core message?
To illustrate the core message, first you have to find the message and decide which one message you most want to share. Because one of the problems that we often do is we want to say we want people to do this, but we also think they should do this, and we end up with 2 or 3 messages, and it ends up a little bit complicated. So sometimes you really have to cut out big bits of your script, and you have to cut messages because you're trying to tell people too much. So you want to base it around one message, and you want to come back to it. So you can't introduce something towards the end of your speech that you haven't really talked about. So it's got to be there throughout. So introducing the problem too late in your script can be a bit of a problem. So you have to really have some sort of problem or some sort of dilemma or some issue, that then something changes in you or something changes in your protagonist, your main speaker, your main character, that then causes them to change. And ideally for a speech, it should be something that most people can relate to. Because if it's something that only middle-aged men can relate to, then you're cutting out a lot of your audience. Or if it's something only women in their 20s can relate, you need to find something that a lot of people can relate to. Something that many people think, oh, well, that could be me. And they won't have the same situation, but they might have a similar situation, a similar problem, or know somebody who's got a similar problem.
That happens. In us often. I mean, when we get some stories first, the stories include a lot of messages, right? Message A, message B, message C. Then you through the interview, you often ask yourself which message is most important, which message do you want to share, message from message A through message Z. So choosing or focusing only one message would be the first step in order to get a better speech, successful speech.
I think so. I think keep it simple, one message, and the one that you want to share the most, one that you feel passionate about, that you believe your audience can benefit from. Because when
we're smoothly moving on to the second section. We'd like to talk about the topics in speech crafting in general. So, Chris, and what?
So when you're looking at, you've written your first draft of your speech. What's your next step? I mean, it's probably too long. It's probably got lots of ideas in there. What's your next step?
Right, the second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth script. A script really needs to be rewritten quite a lot. Because you're right, when you write the script, you do tend to have too much in it. We can often jump from one part to another without really connecting it. It is usually too long when we first write it, so we do have to cut it down quite a lot. So my suggestion is you sit down and write. You have an idea for a speech, you have an idea, whether it's a message or a story, whichever one you want to start with, sit down, write it all out, then read it aloud. And as you're reading it aloud, you'll start to pick up, we're jumping here. And as you're reading it aloud, you really start to notice things that are out of place, or the fact that you just jump from one point to another point and you expect your audience to sort of follow along with it. And you can work out from there which bits work and which don't. And then depending on what it's for, if it's a club speech, I would get it down to the right words and I would move it around, but I wouldn't rewrite it 30 times, 40 times. I would probably rewrite it for maybe 4 or 5 times to get it to where I wanted it. For a contest, I rewrite a lot.
And if you, for example, if you're a reporter, maybe you would have an editor to go through your speech. If you're just joining Toastmasters, you may have a mentor and you'll send the first few copies to your mentor. Do you have a special person, an editor or mentor that you go to for your speeches?
I have my husband, first of all. So I will read it aloud to him, and he will pick up on things like, for a start, he'll pick up if the language is too difficult, or I'm from the UK, so my language is very British language that not necessarily people learning English in Japan will have heard, because they tend to use American English. And there is all the sort of little colloquialisms that other people might not know. Even Americans might not know what I'm saying. So he'll pick up on some of those. And then I have used a speech coach as well for a couple of times over the last couple of years. And it taught me a lot about public speaking, actually going to a professional coach, and it taught me a lot about how I was delivering speeches, rather more than crafting them, but things that I didn't really notice myself, like you have certain movements that you might sway a bit, or you might hold your hand in a funny way, and I never knew I was doing it until I had a coach actually point it out and said, do you know you're holding your right hand up here for quite a lot of your speech? And no, I didn't know. So yeah, having somebody actually evaluating your speech for you and pointing out the little parts that you don't know you do is really, really useful. So listening to evaluations within your club, really, really, really useful. Listening to people evaluate, and if you want to improve, you can ask people to give more evaluations and listen to those. And one of the best ways to improve, I think, is to record yourself and watch yourself back. If you want to improve as a public speaker, record yourself speaking, watch it back, and be super critical.
That's what I wanted to ask. The question, the question that I wanted to say: do you record your performance? You do it always?
I do it. I do it when I can at contests, or when I'm actually doing a speech in a club. I tend to record it and watch it back. But also when I'm practicing, I tend to record it. So because this year we went online, I would go into a little Zoom call by myself and Zoom record myself doing my speech, and then watch it back. And then oh gosh, I'm doing something strange here. Okay, again. So I have a lot of Zoom recordings of myself performing my speech to myself without any audience at all. So I got quite used to that before this contest.
So
I've heard one Toastmaster say that he goes to a karaoke room by himself speech, and then he gets used to standing up and speaking. Is that something you've done before?
No, I've never done that. No, I would probably just do it in a room somewhere rather than actually going to somewhere. But maybe I don't know, if you can't get away from the people in your house so much, maybe going to a karaoke box might help. I just do it in front of the kids, and they get used to me practicing my speech. So
I understand that you reviewing and changing your script so many times in order to make sure your vivid, fundamental message and your excellence of your content. Well, my question is about: did you change your powerful structure many times, or did you refine your expression or your conversation? I mean, the powerful structure is very solid, but you don't need to change, or you have already changed your structure itself?
I didn't really change the structure much with this one. I actually, I ended up with a structure quite early on, and I generally stuck with that structure throughout and just changed the wording and the expressions. It's not been the same the last 2 years, because 2 years ago, I changed the structure a lot. I did a lot of moving things around and really changing the structure quite a lot. So I don't know if I've just got better at speech writing or just a different script, or I think one thing is I have started trying to make everything a lot simpler. So keeping the structure simpler and everything much simpler than I used to.
Excellent. So, well, in my understanding, you share your strategy about your structure. Create a protagonist with strength, weakness, goals, and there's a challenge, and there's a climax, and after that, well, you can share the lesson to everyone, and that was crystal clear, and everyone understand the whole section, the whole message with your powerful message. So, well, about your speech structure, what is your strategy?
Strategy for the structure?
Yeah.
With the structure, you really want to introduce the problem at the beginning, and you don't want too much of the structure to be about the problem, but you do need to have a bit of it about the problem, and then some sort of catalyst for change. So whatever the thing that changes you or changes the person it's about, that catalyst for change, and then it comes down to how the change has affected you, and then end with how that can help others. So you're taking your message to how it can change or benefit other people.
Why would you think your structure is powerful and effective?
It's simple, and it's relatable. You have to keep it to something that everybody can relate to, and the main thing you want to do is have your audience leave with that message in their minds, because when it comes down to it, public speaking and speech contests, it's not about winning.
Yeah.
Not about winning at all. The main reason any of us are doing public speaking is so the audience can leave with something. It's you're giving them a gift to leave with, whether it's something that's going to help them improve their life, or whether it's some comedy and you're going to cheer them up and give them have a good day. You want the audience to leave with that in their minds. So ending with something something simple but clear that they can remember is really key when it comes to speeches.
Excellent. You mentioned about the catalyst for change. For audience, could you elaborate a little bit about?
Catalyst for change would be whatever it is that changes you or changes the protagonist. So it can be, some people talk about the guru, the speech guru, or whoever it is, the person in the speech that makes you change. But it doesn't have to be a person. It can be a thing. It can be you see a butterfly, a caterpillar turning into butterfly, and it makes you think of something that changes you, and that caterpillar can be your catalyst for change. It might be something, it could be something really big, like it could be the death of somebody, and that changes you and makes you think of something that changes you and gives you a strong message to give to people. So
wonderful.
And the catalyst can lead to the message in your speech.
Yeah.
To make your speech very dynamic and impactful.
So the catalyst in your speech was the sunset that your daughter wanted to show everyone.
Yeah. So the first catalyst actually is Lily, actually making change. So Lily is the change, but Lily bringing the sense.
Yeah, she sang the song. Not now, and everyone has time.
Yeah.
Thanks, Lily. I learned blah blah blah. So you demonstrate really well that who is the catalyst, and well, after that, how did you change?
So although you change your speech script many times, we need to focus on one message, right? One message. Keep it simple.
Keep it simple. Stick to one message. Leave your audience with something.
And
go ahead.
I'm just a little bit conscious of time, but I wanted to ask a little bit more. You told us about your time at Toastmasters. You came to Toastmasters, you had a break, and then you came back. And not so much a break, you basically had 3 kids.
Yeah.
Which is far from a break. But you wanted to come back to Toastmasters. What was it that drew you back?
What drew me back was I actually really missed making speeches. I'd had some time off, and somebody in my old club was going, not my old club, in my club actually, but at the time, because I was having a break, so somebody in Tokushima Toastmasters Club was going to the district contest, and she actually contacted me and asked me for some advice on her script. So I met up with her, and I gave her some advice on improving her script and improving her delivery for the contest. And that made me think, oh, I really do miss working with speeches, and I miss giving people an advice, and I miss giving evaluations, and I miss giving speeches, and I miss going to contests. And so I rejoined, and my husband rejoined as well at the same time. So.
Are you both in the same club? I guess you must be. There aren't many clubs around that area.
No, we're both in the same club. There's only one in Tokushima.
People have different thoughts on this. If they have a spouse or a daughter in the same club, then they go to different clubs. But how comfortable is it being there?
It's fine. It actually works well because at the moment we can't both go to meetings at the same time because we don't have anybody to look after the kids, and our children are still young enough to need somebody there to look after them. So we take it in turns and go to alternate meetings. So yeah, it works very well being in the same club. We both competed. We didn't both compete this year. He decided not to this year, but last year we both competed in the club contest, which is a touch awkward. But
yes, I imagine if one of you wins afterwards, the conversation at home is going to be rather quiet.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I was first, and I think he was second. So.
Okay, so now we're gonna moving to the last section. So, Matt, how long have you been a Toastmaster? I mean, you left it for a while and back to the Toastmaster. I mean, in total, how long?
In total, I probably should add it up sometime, but I think it's about 9 or 10 years.
9 or 10 years.
How big is go ahead.
Go ahead.
How big a difference is there between you when you started and where you are now?
Oh, a huge difference.
Huge difference.
Yeah, a huge difference. I wasn't ever that interested in public speaking. It wasn't something that I ever dreamed of doing or ever thought I'd be very good at. When I was at university, I hated having to do presentations.
Really?
Yeah, I used to stand.
You hated.
Yeah, I hated it. I'd stick to the wall like this, and I would look at the floor, and I would mumble, and I would speak as fast as I could to get the words out so that I could stop speaking in front of people. It really was something I didn't enjoy at all. And it wasn't until I became a teacher, and I still didn't like talking in front of people, even though I was a teacher. And then when I first came to Japan and I came to Tokushima, my boss at the time said, oh, why don't you, I'm a member of Toastmasters Club, why don't you come along? Everybody there can speak English. And I didn't have very much Japanese at all at the time. So I came along and I thought, I quite enjoy this actually. It's quite interesting writing speeches and making speeches. But at the time, I used to make very complicated speeches. So I would try to say everything. I would cram as much into the speech as I could, and I would say it very quickly because I had so many words and I had to get them in the time. So I would be speaking very fast, and I was very active. I was aware that I should move a lot, and I should gesture a lot, and I moved a lot, and I spoke fast. And when it comes down to, I'm not sure how much of what I was saying my audience was taken away from it. Because I was trying to say so much, so quickly and so energetically that I'm not sure they were actually coming away knowing what I was talking about or with my message or anything else. And it wasn't until I actually came back to Toastmasters after the break that I had the kids. And at that point, I actually started looking at a lot of speakers online, and I started watching some of the world champs on the ones on YouTube. You can see so many world champions of public speaking, and so many amazing speakers are there online just to watch. And when you watch them, they're not trying to cram as much as they can into a speech, and they're not leaping about all over the place for no reason at all. They speak slowly and they speak clearly, and their message is really key, getting their message across to the audience. And so I actually started learning from them, and I ended up slowing everything down, slowing my gestures down, slowing my speech down, and cutting hundreds and hundreds of words off my speeches. My speeches used to be up there 1,000 words, 900, 1,000, and they're way less now. There's 600.
Yeah, some pauses worked well in your speech at District 76 contest.
Pauses are really, really useful.
Yes.
Pausing so people can keep up with you, and using your voice for kind of speed up, slow down, speed up, pause is really, really useful for speech. Try not to say everything. Try not to just try and say everything in one speech. Split it up, save it for 3 speeches, and then you've got 3 good speeches instead of one really jam-packed speech.
Oh.
And then Toastmasters Club gave you something big, and you've got a big changes in you throughout Toastmastering.
Oh, definitely.
Right.
What was your catalyst for change?
In Toastmastering?
Yeah.
I think my catalyst was watching other people and learning to slow down. And I had some contests where I didn't win, and I was second, or I was third, or I didn't place, and I started wondering, well, why are they placing over me? Why am I not? And so I started looking into it, and then I thought, oh yes, okay, I see why. I see that I'm trying to do too much and do it too fast, and I'm not focusing on my audience. I'm focusing on delivering. But really, it comes down to you've got to think about what your audience is getting, and you want your audience to walk away with that message here, that they know, okay, yes, I believe that, or I can do that, I am this, or something. You want them to walk away knowing what your message is.
Now that you've won the contest 3 times, you must be very much in demand from other Toastmasters in your club or other places, that they want to learn your secrets and they want to learn things from you. And how does it work with giving back? Is that something you feel you want to do, or is it something that's drawn?
Oh no, and I love to give back. Yeah, I'd love to do workshops, and I think giving back to Toastmasters and helping other people find that confidence inside them to stand up and do the speech is really really important. Everybody has that message inside them that they want to give or can give to the world, and being confident enough to stand up and say it is really really important.
So
Go ahead.
In Toastmastering, developing leadership is the main purpose in Toastmasters Club. So what kind of, through your Toastmasters life, do you think your leadership, if your leadership got improved or developed, grown up, your leadership?
Still growing, I think, my leadership. I'm still growing. Yeah, it's hard to take on a lot of roles when you've got little kids, actually, because you don't have so much time. But I think one of my ways I can give that leadership is to do workshops and inspire other people to make speeches.
And it might sound a personal question. In regular meetings in Toastmasters Club, we have over 10 roles, right? Speaker, evaluator, today's Toastmaster. Which role is your favorite? Speaker?
I do like speaking, actually. But I also like evaluating. And I also quite like jobs like the grammarian.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes when somebody's absent, I'm like, oh, I'll be grammarian. I'm an English teacher, so it's being something like a grammarian is quite easy to do. It's something I do every day anyway. So, but I do like evaluating as well, because I think with anybody's evaluation, everybody can learn. So you're evaluating that one speaker, but the rest of the club that is listening can learn from how you're evaluating that speaker, because so it can help a lot of people improve. Evaluations aren't just for the person you're evaluating, but for everybody. So I like things like that.
I see. Evaluating and delivering speech, it's like a coin, right? Right. So becoming a better evaluator will make you become better speaker, right?
Yeah, and I think to become a better speaker, listening to others and learning how to listen to other people's speeches is really important as well. It can't just be about making speeches. You've got to listen to other people. And one of the key ways to improve is to listen to everybody and watch everybody, whether it's professionals online or people in your club. And you can learn from people in your club and you think, oh, that's fantastic the way they did that. Yep. Oh, I might do that in my speech. I really liked this. I really, or I'm not sure about that. I'll be careful not to do that. So you can learn from anybody. And anybody at all. You can pick up little ideas or things that can help your own speaking.
Excellent. So market yourself is one slogan for this 76. And what would you think the Toastmasters value for yourself?
Toastmasters value? Or
yeah.
I think the value of Toastmasters is that everybody can use public speaking. So public speaking is such an important skill for people to learn, and I don't think people learn it young enough. So I think actually bringing it to younger generation is quite important, and I think Toastmasters in Japan and around the world should maybe start bringing it a little bit younger and getting a lot of university students or even high school students to start doing public speaking. And if we get them even younger, by the time they get to that age, Japan's going to be full of world champs of public speaking. It's going to be, public speaking is a really, really important skill that I think anybody can benefit from.
Many people may think that I'm busy. and well, some people say that not now,
later.
But well, of course, well, investing your time in Toastmasters, well, like everyone has a role, and well, sometimes you need time to prepare to exercise your skills. But well, of course, there is some preparation and time, but would you think that the Toastmasters activities benefit yourself and leverage your career or leverage your life?
Oh, definitely. I think Toastmasters benefits most people's lives, and I think people do say I'm too busy now, I'll do it later. But it comes down to prioritizing, and the benefits that you get from something like Toastmasters can splinter out, and it can go out and benefit your family. It can benefit your kids. So if you're doing public speaking, and I think public speaking is great for confidence, actually, and improving your confidence in everyday life, and then your kids will pick up on that, and that will improve their confidence in everyday life. And I think it sort of spins on from that. And you can bring that into your office, into your workplace, that confidence that you get from standing up and making a speech in front of people.
Public speaking, people tend to consider public speaking one speaker to thousands of audience, but I don't think so. Public speaking is everywhere in some discussion between your co-worker, your partner, spouse, kids. Everything could become one of public speaking. And the through Toastmasters Club activities, I think especially young people will be able to find public speaking is really essential in their lives, as you say.
Yeah, I think so. I think for anybody who studies, they have to stand up in class and talk about something, a project or a presentation they've prepared. They need public speaking. If you go to a wedding, your best friend gets married and you're asked to make a speech, public speaking. If you're in the office and your boss says, okay, can you tell me about the sales numbers of this? You have to stand up and talk about it. It's all public speaking. So speaking. You can't get away from it. So you're better to practice it and gain confidence through practicing it.
Yeah, even here, public speaking, right?
Yep.
Interview, yeah.
Yep.
So now the audience that you watching us, you could be a great public speaker, right? Through Toastmasters activities, right?
Since you're here at this point, I mean, it would be a shame not to be able to give your club a shout out. Everyone's drawn to clubs for different reasons, and some clubs have debates, some the joke of the day, the song of the day, all sorts of things. Tell us a little bit about your club, Shikoku Toastmasters, and tell us what parts of it really fascinate you and keep coming back.
Well, my club's actually Tokushima Toastmasters Club.
Oh, sorry, Tokushima, yes.
And they're so supportive. They've been incredibly supportive over the last 3 years. So 3 years ago, when I went to Chicago for the semifinals in Chicago, we had a whole group of them that actually came over to support me over there. And they've been really fantastically helpful over the last few years. So I think having a club that really supports you is fantastic. It's really really key. And
this year is celebrating the 20th anniversary, right?
Yes, we're celebrating our 20th anniversary this year. That's right.
Yes, I'm going to visit a special party.
Yeah, looking forward to
celebrate the 20th.
And is there anything that stands out in the meetings? All Toastmasters meetings are very similar in a certain way, but they all have their own special points that people get drawn into. Is there something special about your club, apart from people, of course?
I think it's just the working together and the listening to people's speeches and giving good, clear evaluations. And any time I've wanted any evaluations on my speeches, I get feedback from everybody, and I have people sending me messages and saying, you paused too long here, or I don't like your title, or all sorts of feedback from the club. So I think it's really key to listen to everybody and good listening skills, I think. Tokushima Toastmasters stuff. And good parties. We have some great singers and musicians in the club. So.
That sounds like a good reason to join your 20th anniversary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'll be fun.
So, well, rather than focusing on winning, well, you focus on where you are in the journey and what is your next step? What is your next goal? Well, if you focus on the magic moment, so, well, the possibility are limitless. So, what is your next big moment for you?
I think getting your message that you believe in to as many people as possible is really key. So sharing that message and spreading it out there, and if it's something that you wholeheartedly believe in, then the further it goes and the more you can spread that message and share it with people, the better. So yeah, in the future I would like to start some maybe youth Toastmasters, start doing some Toastmasters for kids, and I would like to help more people share their messages clearly and beautifully and confidently with the world.
So another Toastmasters story will be kicked off from Tokushima. Right. Okay. Now 8:25. It's okay. Now we're gonna wrap up this excellent session, right? Okay. Okay. Next week, next Saturday, we're gonna talk about. We're gonna talk with the Japanese speech contest champion, Toastmaster Mayuko Sato, and the interviewer in Japanese, Yujo Kawashita. They are joining this great event. Okay, so you don't miss it. Okay, don't just ink this event on your schedule. Okay. Chris-san, could you give the audience some comment?
By all means. Thank you very much, Toastmaster. Well, I think we'll all agree that this was a great chance to learn more about the District 76 champion this year, Maz, as we call her. And I hope that you've all managed to pick up some tips, whether it's practicing your speech 1,000 times, or it's just getting your speech down to a simple message and keeping the language simple, not rushing, but slowing down and giving your point. I think we've all picked up something here, and I hope you'll be able to take that back into your club and put it in your speech. And we will be hearing from you next time at the district contest. So thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Good evening.
And Ohashi-san, Toastmaster Ohashi, could you give us some comment?
Well, thank you very much, Marama, and well, wonderful insight. Well, illustrate your core message effectively and how we can crystallize, how we can make it a perfect presentation. That is quite important for everyone. That well, recommendation for persuade, inspire, to inform. So every occasion that the way we deliver speech, where we present, is essentially important, that will impact our lives. Well, thank you very much for sharing tips and strategies and your future possibilities. Thank you very much for that.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Maz, could you wrap up this event with your remarkable message?
For anybody who's watching, if you're feeling doubtful about standing up and giving your speech, if you're thinking, but I'm not confident, I don't have it in me, you do. You have it in you. It's there inside. Your message is there and your story is there, and you have it in you to stand up and tell everybody your message and your story, and you can do it. It's there inside you, and everybody is just waiting to hear what you have to say. So next time you're thinking, oh, I'm not sure I'm going to do a speech, do it. You can do it.
You can do it, okay? Keep it simple. Focus on your message, okay? Okay, now thank you so much for sharing your precious moment, and thank you for your time watching. See you next program next Saturday. Thank you. Good evening. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much. And I'd like to call the adjournment of 2020 this is online contest. Thank you so much. And this is the end of English contest. Thank you very much.
We're gonna end,
Thank you.
end with the film.
Thank you.
Contest film. Okay, Chris,
Right,
thank you so
much,
much,
everyone.
precious. I learned a lot from the interview, and Chris, great interviewer. You got a lot of things.